married couple Melanie and Rob had been trying to have another baby together for about 18 months. They were able to conceive their first son Daniel naturally, but were having issues with a second child. Despite getting the all-clear from doctors that nothing was wrong on both Melanie and Rob's ends, Melanie struggled to get pregnant. Even though this is an unfortunate thing to experience, it's still a very common issue that couples are faced with when trying to start or grow a family of their own. But rather than continue to waste even more time trying, Melanie and Rob decided that the best action to take was to consider adopting another child and giving him/her a good loving home. Melanie had always said that she dreamed of rescuing unwanted children. After many long months of filling out forms and interviews with adoption registers, the couple finally found the girl that they believed would complete their family. The little girl that they wanted to adopt was named Alex. Based upon the descriptions, pictures, and various interviews with Alex, the couple was finally ready to commit to adopting her and giving her a new forever home. The only thing abnormal about Alex was that she always had her eyes closed, and never opened them around other people. The adoption agency just chalked it up to her rough upbringing, and Alex never had any trouble getting around, so they just left it be. This didn't bother Melanie or Rob. After all, Melanie even said herself that she dreamed of rescuing unwanted children. When Melanie and Rob arrived to pick Alex up, they were beyond excited. As soon as they opened the door, they were both even more in love with Alex when they saw her in person again this time. Alex's foster father had asked her if she remembered who Melanie and Rob were. In a very quiet and soft tone she answered, "It's my new mummy and daddy." When the new parents looked down at their new daughter with intense pleasure in their eyes, Alex returned the same look right back at them, of course, all without opening her eyes. When they took Alex back home, the couple vowed to love her forever. A few months into the adoption is when Melanie and Rob began to notice things about Alex. She seemed to be incapable of learning how to do anything. They'd spend hours showing her how to do simple things like pushing buttons on the TV remote, buttoning up her shirts, brushing her teeth with a toothbrush, using a fork and knife to eat. No matter how long or how hard they tried, Alex just never seemed to learn. But the couple did their best to remain calm. After all, they committed to taking on the responsibility of loving her and giving her a home. A year into the adoption, things still hadn't improved at all with Alex. Melanie thought that maybe she was just doing all of this for attention due to her upbringing and time in foster care. One day Melanie overheard her son Daniel begging Alex to stop hurting their pet cat Scooter. Alex was pulling very hard on the cat's tail, causing the cat some pain and making it hard for the animal to balance. In the end, Melanie ended up telling Alex off for causing harm to the cat. When Melanie was done reprimanded Alex, she walked around the corner and pretended to go away, leaving Alex and Daniel alone. Alex whispered, "I hate you. You made Mum here," to Daniel, and then proceeded to open her eyes for the first time since being adopted by Melanie and Rob. Her eyes were pure white and her voice sounded so sinister, it was unlike anything Melanie had ever heard before. It just sounded so evil. The incidents with Alex happened more and more as the months went on and became more frequent. Eventually, Melanie and Rob finally got Alex to admit to something after one of her outbursts. Alex told Melanie and Rob that the voice was telling her to do all of these things. They hadn't heard any sort of voice, so the only logical explanation was that Alex was the only one hearing the voice because it was all in her head. At this point, Melanie and Rob knew they had to get their adopted daughter help immediately. Therapy seemed to be going really well for Alex. Her therapist seemed very pleased with the amount of effort Alex was putting into her sessions with him. But not all was what it seemed. Every day that Alex would have a therapy session, she would be on her best behavior, mirroring the exact behavior that everyone around her wanted to experience. The days that she didn't have therapy, she went back to her old ways of manipulation and other harmful behavior patterns. The constant up and down hope both Melanie and Rob would experience from Alex doing this made them both finally agree that enough was enough. They wanted to get the adoption nulled.